presented by Bidding Classics, the online marketplace for appreciating classic cars, where you can find our featured Escort Mexico. Follow the links in the description below. And Diamond Bright, keeping the Furious fleet shining, and you can protect, clean and care for your car with 10% off site-wide using code FD10. Hello and welcome to Furious Driving, and we are edging inexorably closer to the final episodes with this, the Mondeo, the fantastic 1998 1.8 litre Mondeo LX, which we pulled, or was pulled from a garden after 7 years plus of slumber, covered in goop, now covered in bird poo, which has been parked under a tree, and getting better and better with every drive. I mean, I've been driving it an awful lot the last week or so, and even taking it on family days out, if you can include going to Sainsbury's as a day out. Maybe for some people it is, I don't know. But really now the only thing left to do with it is to make it look better. I'm still waiting on the mysteriously vanished hubcaps. I've got a tracking number, but Every can't find them. Thanks, Every. But today we want to look at the headlining, because that's not in great condition right now. So let's take a look inside the car at that. Right, so that headlining is not looking very clever. I'll show you that in a second. But first of all, I'm going to change these, because at the moment it's trying very hard to decapitate me. These are 13 quid for a pair off eBay. Don't know where they're made, doesn't say. But say £13 of eBay for repair. This will stop then trying to take my head off every time I open the boot. Then I might actually hoover the boot, because the boot's pretty grim as well. These things are astonishingly easy to fit. All you need to do is pull out the little clip with your screwdriver. I've pulled out the little clip down there. This one has a funny little circlip thing on it, and then, and I held this one up on that side with mole grips so it doesn't try and kill me when I do this. That just falls out, and that can now go in the pile to be weighed in for money. It's a little hard behind the plastic trim, but there we go. Snap that on there. Snap that on there. And we've got ourselves a fitted strut. Huzzah. Right, done. Both sides, and now we have a boot that goes up without taking your head off and stays there. Right, so a quick vacuum of this back end of the car, because it's really unpleasant. Just given it a significant additional hoovering around the crevices and things. It does look really nice now. There's a couple of spots I've seen on the seats where I want to go back over again with the wet vac, but overall looking pretty nice in here. And the trick with the boot seemed to be take the carpet out and scrub it with a stiff yard brush, then hoover it. That's come up rather nicely, really. Now, before we go any further, I just want to take a moment to say this video is not sponsored by Every, the delivery company. In fact, it's just being actively hampered by them. If you're not familiar with who Every are, they are a rebrand of the parcel company Hermes, who had developed such a poor reputation for quality of service, they'd had to spend millions revamping themselves as a new name, instead of spending those millions on, I don't know, employing enough staff to do the job properly, or paying the staff they have enough to want to do it properly, or working out what's wrong with their system so they're not messing up the whole time. So anyway, before Christmas, a very kind viewer in Scotland sent me down one of the very rare surviving sets of 14-inch genuine original LX hubcaps for this car. They didn't turn up. Then on December the 31st, I got an email saying they'd attempted to deliver, but no one was home. No note through the door, and nothing to suggest anything had been down the drive to try and deliver. So we tried to do the follow-up with all the different missing parcel routines. However, they've only got a couple of automated systems. Went on the website, typed in the tracking number, couldn't find it. The phone number they've got is an automated robotic thing which gets to a certain point and then just cuts you off, dead. So we go on the automated live chat, which again is a robot which gets to a certain point and then just cuts you off, dead. And that's all you've got. They've not got a Twitter account where you can follow them, because basically it would be inundated with people complaining. What there is though is a fan site, if you like, on Twitter, which is inundated with people complaining. It's built specifically for that purpose. Unfortunately, from there I was able to find the email for the CEO of the company, where I emailed to tell him what I thought of his company. A couple of days later, I did get an email back from someone saying, okay, send us the details of what you've got, where it's come from, all the rest of it, and we'll see if we can look into it. So I did. And a couple of days later, I got an email back saying, tough, we can't find it. It's gone. Good luck with that, mate. You're on your own. Basically, mic drop, we're out of here. So all I can suggest is, if you have anything of any value to send anywhere, don't use Every. This has been my TED Talk. Oh, it's nice and warm in here now. So this car I could now have sold 10 times over. It's been wildly popular here on YouTube and everyone seems to have liked it, and a lot of people apparently are quite keen to buy it as well, so I'm very grateful to all of you who've sent an email. And the way I was trying to play this was first come first served, trying to keep it as fair as possible. The person who bought Quentin was actually really interested, but ultimately he did change his mind about it, and so moved on to the second person, and we've got a deal which has been arranged for later in the week, so hopefully you'll see that video very shortly indeed. We've discussed what he wants doing and how much further he wants to take it. He's happy to do or have the cam belt done. I was keen not to do the cam belt for two reasons. Firstly, there's room for error. I could wind up destroying this absolutely sweet engine. Secondly though, the time of year we are in January, I don't know if you know anything about how YouTube pays your bills if you're a YouTuber, but January is the worst month of the year for getting paid, and the cost of the parts and everything, I'm not even sure the video would cover the costs of doing the job. So from that point of view, I'm happy not to do it. He does, however, want the headlining done, which I'm also very happy to do because I don't want to be sending a car out with mould in the thing. I have arranged to do it in a couple of days' time with a friend who's got a heated double garage, but that is on a proviso that his classic cars don't go out in the rain. Anyway, it looks like it might rain tomorrow, so on Sunday I came out to do this and I thought about it, but it was absolutely bitterly cold and I didn't want to risk shattering this plastic, so I come out today and it's bitterly cold and it looks like it might rain, but I'm running out of time, so I've put the heater in here to try and warm the interior of the car up so the plastics are a little bit softer to the touch and so we've got less risk of shattering. So what we need to do to undo and remove this headlining is undo everything that's holding it to the ceiling basically. So remove these hand pulls, 2 screws in each of them, pull out these A, B and C post trims because that is also supporting it, take out the screws that hold these up because that supports it, the lamps in the front, and there's a couple of clips in the back, and the whole thing should just drop down really easily. I mean, how hard can it be? As they say. Oh, I found a fuel card or something. Oh, it's an RAC card. Oh, that's interesting. Gosh, there's no mirror in this. LX base spec. Okay, so let's have a look at getting this stuff down and hopefully without damaging anything. Okay, starting from the back, these panels simply just clip out. You have to, first of all, go into the doorway, pull the rubber door trim down to free it out. Then that pulls free, so then that is now, apart from the rubber trim on here, that is basically free. I'm going to close that, get the warm air in. Oh, those new struts are good. These come away surprisingly easily. Just pry the end out from the middle and unscrew the bolt, or screw them I should say, and obviously keep the screws somewhere safe. You can see the original colour of the grey felt there. Whoa, okay. Right, having done that, all you need to do is pick that little plastic tab there, undo the single screw, and out that pops, and then you've got your B post removed. I think the A post is just simply going to pull. Driver's side though, you haven't got a handle, you've just got 2 little blanking plugs, so pop them up next and then onto the front. Oh, well, this is interesting. You pop these little plastic covers off and there's actually nothing behind them, they're just blanking plates. Oh, that pops off almost too easily. Just a couple more screws here, 2 on the end, little plastic cover there to reveal whatever screws underneath there, so it's 3 screws per side. Then drop that lamp and pop that off. We are there, virtually. It's one of those jobs that looks terrifying, but really it's just take your time and don't force anything and scratch stuff up. So then we have this little plastic clip which sits in front of the light, that just pops out with your fingers. The light just pries out as well as if you're changing the bulb, so then you unplug the 2 connectors on there. Off it comes! As easy as you like. Crikey, that's on tight. Yeah, let's assume I've done that, and we'll come back to that in a second. But yeah, all I need to do now is peel back this door rubber trim. There we go, that's now free at the front. That comes down off those clips. So now it's just the rubbers holding this in place. I've peeled these down to literally just pull them down from all of the windows. It's just this one here holding it to the car. So we'll peel that up, and that should then be free enough to let go. Okay, so just as the snow is about to start, it should be able to feed out of the entire car. Hopefully. Come on, I have to break the rear backing a bit because that'd be a real problem if I do. This is why I had to do the struts first. Now of course it is starting to rain. And it is out. So now I'll be peeling this off the backing. You can see the bit I've cleaned because it's all lovely and shiny, although it's not particularly well stuck, or at all stuck in fact, to the background. Oh, yuck. So I'm doing this inside the garage now. We're resting on the boot of the Rover. Rover Mercedes. Very used to saying that. This all just peels off nicely and goes straight in the bin. Okay, so now we're indoors in the garage, and after several fun-filled, well, no, enduring quite a long time of scrubbing with a wire brush, I've now got back to pretty much all of the fiberglass base of this thing. That's as good as it's going to get, quite frankly. I've just in a bit of mist over there. And now this is basically the same routine as when we did the Volvo, in as much as, in fact, we're even using the same adhesive as I used when I used the Volvo. I've gone back to the same place I bought that from during lockdown, in fact. I did think I had some leftovers that might be big enough, but they weren't quite big enough offcuts, and somehow managed to buy far darker fabric than I thought I had. But do you know what? It's now sporter, because it's dark. Black headlining means sport, and it's a Ford, so it's sporty, which is good. So I'm going to call this a win rather than a mistake. So what we do is basically we lay the stuff out on top of here, cut it roughly to size, or a bit oversized in fact, spray half of the thing, spray half the back of that. So we still are in a bit of a mess in here, because when the Rover V8 disappeared off to be worked on, the car was very full of stuff and everything got emptied out of the Rover and into here. So, okay, yep, that's all good there, all good in the hood, as they say. I have dusted this off quite extensively, and I've used the air compressor to blow as much dust off as I can, but there's still lots more of this foamy backing stuff. This particular roll is 1.4 meters wide, and I've bought 2 meters in length of it. I think it's about 12 pounds, and no, it wasn't even that, it was about 8 or 9 pounds a metre plus postage and VAT, so all told it cost about 25 quid, including delivery home. And I want to make sure I've got some nice decent size offcuts of that, because I've got another little side project for the leftovers when we're done. So what we'll do, rotate this, that'll be easier. I'll do one half at a time. Now, having done this really awkward way, I'm sure tomorrow is going to be bone dry, and I could have used my friend's garage after all. But assuming the worst, because it usually is how it goes, a W123 does make an excellent table. Good work height, actually, a W123 bonnet. Make sure go around the edges as well, because then it's to wrap around. Incidentally, this bonnet they're working on is actually going to be scrapped, so it doesn't really matter about much, really. What am I putting the lid on? So fold this back over here and press that. Oops, try and get it flat, obviously. Press that into the shape of the roof. What I found with the Volvo is that it was amazing how quickly everything just shrunk into place, and the creases and the lines and things just disappeared completely. I mean, even with the Volvo, the headlining broke when I was putting it back in again because saloon. I had to repair the headlining, and it really didn't show at all. You know, this is the trickiest bit here, because there's quite a shape just there for it to morph into. And the glue, what's it called? Just called Trim Fix adhesive. Came from Amazon, and it has lasted, well, 2.5 years now on the Volvo. So that's been in the cold of winter and the hot of summer, all been good. And the foam that I'm putting on it's a specific headlining foam. So it's got like a nylon-y surface with a nice foam backing. There we go, that's taken that quite nicely. Now I'll let that dry a few minutes. Okay, the front end is looking quite good. Now I just need to, well, I've cut this back a little bit, so I've got a more or less hassle to play with. And now we just roll back this unglued end and glue, basically. Simple as that. It's not rocket science, as they say. I did get some glue on the far end then, but it's not really a problem because it does kind of rub off quite easily if you do make a mistake like that. I will mention, because I always get people pointing out the health and safety aspects of anything I'm doing, the garage door is wide open over there and it's blooming freezing. Okay, so that is basically it now until morning. So I'll just basically leave this now to dry. Out here overnight on its own, on its lonesome. And yeah, let the glue settle off as needs be. And come back to it in the morning. Well, having left that overnight now, this does actually look really rather nice. Now I just need to trim it out with some sharp scissors, which I'll go and do indoors because it's too blooming cold out here, and then slot it back into the car. Right, having taken it indoors and fettled it with some sharp scissors and a sharp knife to get the little holes and things cut out, it does look like a proper actual roof now. I'm really quite impressed with it. I have had to just add a little bit of extra glue in a few places where it was notable that the glue had kind of come away in the night, but that's fine. That's now glued back up again. This is basically contact adhesive, which goes off pretty quickly. So now I can just start feeding it through up above the roof and use the C post and B post to kind of support it for me. Fabulous. So really this is a two-person job, if I'm honest. It's definitely a lot easier with a second person to kind of feed it at the other end. Right, now just gonna make sure we feed things around stuff rather than crashing into them and keeping on pushing. Wow, looking good. So let's feed the light through there so I don't forget that later. That goes up to the front. Cool, now just start clipping things in. And this really is, we need a second pair of hands. Now where shall I begin? And I might as well start with the centre bits from the sun visors, just because they're a big screw. Which way around do they go? We'll get that lined up. Everything else should kind of follow. Right, so apart from the trim in the B post, the passenger side is now done, and golly, that does look good. What a massive improvement over the previous side. Well, sorry, the previous grey mouldy roof, which was A, mouldy and B, drooping, and this is neither of those things. I actually quite like it in the black. It's very sporty looking. Sporter! Because we are in a Ford after all. One last thing to remember if you're doing this job is that this grey panel at the toppermost of the B post trim doesn't actually match up to the metalwork. There is a big bit of rubber that covers that, so don't worry about trying to press that hard into the steel, because you'll never do it. You'll drive yourself mad forever. So there we are done. That is a beautiful fitted headliner. When I did the Volvo, a lot of the plastic trim, the C, B and A posts, just shattered because they were just old and brittle instead of prying away as they were supposed to. And I've still not got all of them back in because that's what they all do. So finding replacements is impossible. This one though came out really easily and it looks absolutely amazing. I have made the executive decision to leave out the two plastic plugs on the back of the roof and also the two little plugs over the driver's seat because they are light grey. They will stand out really obviously. I'll supply them with the car, of course, but I'm not going to fit them because I think they look a bit too obvious. It was an error on my part in ordering because there was a light colour which looked far too light, and then there was a darker grey which looked like it was the right colour because it's kind of a bluey grey in this car. But yeah, this is clearly a lot darker, but it does look really rather nice. Very smart indeed. Very, very happy with this indeed. It's not perfect, but you know, it's a home retrim, so it never will be. But it does give me a lot of happiness and faith in the fact that I've got to do 2 more cars on my fleet still. The 200 VI over there and the 420 GSI Tourer both need headlinings doing, because they've all got the same 90s problem of foam-backed stuff, and the foam disintegrates, and so it just falls away from the backing. And a few people did actually comment in previous videos, why don't I just undo some of the screws and squirt glue in there to pop it back up again? And I don't think that works, because the foam in the middle is already sticky. It just disintegrates, it falls into nothing, so you can do nothing with it. All you can do is take it all out, peel it all off and put fresh stuff on there. Also, the car smells a lot nicer with that gone, because I think a lot of the bad smell in the car was coming from the old headliner. The old fabric and the foam was really holding the grot. So with that gone, the car looks and smells better. I'll get out about 500 quid in the price of this car for that £25 job. So we are now basically done with the Mondeo. Just one more episode to go and take it to its new home, which is kind of happy, kind of sad. That was the objective of the entire video in the first place, to get the car turned around and moved on as quickly as possible. And it was very easy to become attached to it, because it is an absolutely lovely car. But we've done everything we can to it. Mechanically, it's as good as it's going to get. The only thing left to do is the timing belt, which I said the new owner is happy to take on himself. Cosmetically, there's a few little issues which, you know, in the budget of a £1,500 car flip, there just isn't the money and the time to do it. But again, it's not a big deal, and I'm sure he will be more than able to deal with that in his own time. It looks and runs brilliantly. The only thing really it's a problem are these window strips, which do all bubble up on those cars. The only real problem I have with this car that I'm not happy about, apart from the paintwork on the bonnet, I was still scrubbing this. I was using traffic film remover and some sort of quite an abrasive cloth, and that is actually coming back more and more. If I've got time tomorrow and the weather's friendly enough, I will have another go at it. You can't see through the rain, but all that blotching has basically come off with TFR. Go to diamondbright.co.uk, traffic film remover. It's like a yellow liquid, which is, I don't know what the hell's in it, but it lifts dirt. You get a scrub on it, and that has just been amazing the way that bonnet has come back, because that looked dreadful before. Now the real issue is the hubcaps that Every lost. It's the last probably complete set of 14-inch LX hubcaps in the country, and Every have gone and just chucked him in a hedge somewhere. So yeah, that is kind of annoying. But yeah, this has been a real fun turnaround. What's next? Well, wait and see, because I don't think you're going to be expecting it. Anyway, this has been great fun. I've really enjoyed this car, because I do love an early Mondeo. If this was a Mark 1, I think I would probably have kept it. So I was quite lucky from my neighbours and wife that it wasn't. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. As always, like and subscribe. If you want to help support the channel and keep projects like this going, then do please have a look at becoming a channel member of Patreon. Go to furiousdriving.co.uk, where you can find all kind of exciting fun merch like this hat. Amazon, where there's the affiliate link, where you can buy all the tools I use, and that obviously helps the channel as well, because it's an affiliate link. Or just hit like, or indeed subscribe, because that tells YouTube you like this video, and they help keep promoting it in that case then. So thank you so much for watching, and I do appreciate it, and I'll join me again next time. Well, maybe with this car, maybe something else, I don't know. We'll see.